Welcome to Winter's Shadows, an expressive arts project brought to you by Dive Through Studio. Explore your story through the arts. Before we get started, let's just make sure you have what you need to do this work today. For supplies, you need at least 3 pieces of paper. They can be any size or color, whatever you prefer to work with the most. And for supplies, again, any supplies you have on hand will probably be perfect for this. Pastels, watercolor, colored pencils, anything you enjoy working with will be perfect for this project. Have on hand a journal to write down thoughts and reflections. And you may also want to have a camera on hand to document your work as you're working on it. And the reasons for that will become more clear later on, but some people really like to document what they're doing as they're working on it. So go ahead and make sure you have all those supplies, and then we will continue. Our guiding questions for this workshop today. What is dormant within you? What are you up against? And what part of you do you deny? The title of this workshop comes from these questions. A winter's shadow, long shadows cast across the snow, underneath the snow, soil, and seeds waiting to grow. In this workshop, we're going to be making 2 separate pieces that you will integrate together into a 3rd piece. Depending on how much time you allow yourself, you might need to keep that in mind if you use any paint. But please remember that this is about the process, it's not about the product. And if you end up with a big messy thing at the end, that's really fine because it's about the making, not the final result. To begin, we're going to focus on what is dormant within you. What are the seeds that lay beneath the snow waiting to start to grow and germinate? Using one of your pieces of paper and any materials you want, please create a simple artwork that represents the things that you're trying to manifest in the coming year. You can use words and/or images, and just spend about 15 minutes on this. We want to just make a quick, easy piece of work that will represent what it is in us waiting to germinate. Please pause the video while you are working. And then when you are complete with that first work and ready to go on, continue on with this video. The next part of this workshop is the dirt. Now, dirt is very nourishing, but it's also what is in the way of this seed as it begins to germinate. And as it's sending up its first little green tendril of growth, it has to push through all of this stuff and move it aside. And that's some hard work. It's dark work, and sometimes we get lost in this process. So what I want you to do now is to make another piece on a second piece of paper. If you're using colored paper, you can select a piece of paper that you dislike the color and create something that represents the dirt that you are growing through. What are your challenges? What feels like a barrier keeping you from a more fulfilling life? And again, we're going to keep it really simple as before, only taking about 15 minutes to create your art piece. And again, if you want to pause this video while you make that piece, now would be a good time. And now a brief story. This is from the beginning of a book called Stoking the Creative Fire by author Phil Cousineau. He was in Ireland. It's kind of a down time in his life, and he was looking for some guidance. He was in a bookstore, and he picked a book up that was by a poet that he admired and did something called bibliomancy, where he just turned randomly to any page in the book looking for guidance, and whatever words he read on the page that he turned to randomly was meant to be some wisdom that would be timely for him. And so this next section are the words that he read when he turned to the random page in the book. What we're going to do in this next section is you're going to listen to me read these words. I'm going to read them 3 times, and I want you to have in front of you the piece that you made that represents the dirt, the barriers, the thing that's getting in your way. And either with eyes closed or while looking at your piece, concentrate on these words as I say them. This is it. This is the thing. This is what you are up against. This is it. This is the thing. This is what you are up against. This is it. This is the thing. This is what you are up against. And now I invite you to take that paper, that dirt that feels in your way, and to just destroy it. Tear it up, crumple it up, spit on it if you must, whatever you need to do. And now we are going to do the final part of this workshop, which represents the shadow. In Jungian psychology, the shadow represents the parts of ourselves that we disown. Sometimes these can be quite dark places, but there's also a positive personal shadow, which represent things that we recognize in others, but that we won't own within ourselves. So I want you to take a moment with your journal, and I want you to think of somebody who you admire or somebody who you envy, and I want you to think about the traits they have that make you feel different from them. What is it about the person you admire that you wish you were also able to do? That person that you envy, what do you envy about them? How do you think you're different from each other? And write down however many qualities you want. And pause this video for just a moment while you do that. Now we come to the integration. The two pieces that you made, one of which has been destroyed, are now going to be integrated into a final piece. How you do this is totally up to you. A suggestion would be to get a third piece of paper and use that to combine the two pieces that you have already created. Sometimes people want to just make a third separate piece. And as you are integrating these pieces together, I want you to think about those qualities that you just wrote down and sort of embody this person. Think about the traits they have that you admire and use them to help you solve this integration problem of combining these pieces together. This is the last piece that we're making, and you can take as much time as you want to complete it. This would be a good time, again, to pause the video and then to come back for some final reflection thoughts. A wonderful step to take to put into action what you've created is to write down 3 action steps that you can take in the next week to help manifest this integration. Write them down in your journal. Thank you for doing this workshop with me. Please consider joining our Facebook community. It's free. It's a wonderful place to post your work and to get support and inspiration where you can share your work and your story. Thank you.